Design is all around us. You look up, you see a fan, that is design. You look down, you see a marbled or a wooden floor, that is design. And just like that, everything around us is a form of design. Setting the context for designing is important. In design, the product we create depends upon the intent and the situation that requires us to approach a problem in a certain way. Who are our users? What is their situation? What are their needs and wants? What are their goals? If we talk about the context of culture that is associated with it, it has changed and due to which the design of a product has changed. Today, we have a very minimalistic culture where we try to combine things and make them as functional as we can. The functional benefit helps us to make a difference in a way a product works. But emotional benefit helps us go a long way by adding more value to it. Humans are emotional beings. We make decisions on our gut level more than we like to admit. The emotion we experience is the result of the functional benefit. For example, the functional benefit that Amazon Prime owns is the speed of delivery among its internet retailers, which is followed by an emotional benefit which makes people feel instant gratification and the feeling of power for getting something so quickly. Now, due to these both reasons, people prefer Amazon Prime over its other competitors. The significance for design lies in its ability to fulfill the demands, whether aesthetic, teleological, or semiotic. By aesthetic, it is broadly understood as it is sensory and beauty value that is concerned with the judgment of visual taste. The design has a functional as well as some purpose. In theoretical terms, ability of design to fulfill the function or the purpose is called the teleology of a design. Apart from above two, there is one more aspect of design called the content or the meaning of design that can be broadly called as the semiotic value of design.
Aesthetics of design. There is a phenomena that social psychologists call the halo effect. It means humans tend to assume that good looking people have other positive qualities aside from their looks. The same is valid for product design. Good looking product and user interface are perceived as more valuable and having more quality. There are three important categories which can make or break the aesthetics of our design. First is vision. The most dominant sense in majority of people is our sight. We can stop ourselves to look at what we find beautiful. It is as if light that reflects from beautiful design acts as magnet from our eyes. Second is hearing. Our ears are capable of perceiving a whole another level of aesthetic design. The ability to hear how your car engine works, how digital product notifies you of new messages, and etc. This is the power of sound aesthetics. Third is touch. Skin is the largest organ in human body. It also helps us experience aesthetics. Material aesthetics are especially important for physical products. Just remember the last time you were buying clothes and feeling their texture, or when you were checking the latest phone and feeling the frame material. Sometimes people make their buying decisions only based on the material aesthetics. Powerful stuff is this material aesthetics.
Why aesthetic design matters. People expect usability by default and are seeking products that are more than functional and usable. We want to experience pleasures to stimulate our senses. We want the products we use to evoke positive emotion in us. Aesthetic design is crucial to satisfy these needs. We all judge the book by its cover. The better the book cover, the more we believe the content is better. This is the phenomena called aesthetic usability. Beautiful products, objects are perceived as easier to use and more valuable. This phenomena is especially valid when the products compared are equal in functionality and ease of use. The better looking products will win over the users swiftly. But when the aesthetics is in the senses of our users, how do we know what to design? The answer can be given by the people we are designing the product and experience for. We need to understand them before deciding what is aesthetically pleasing. When we are designing products for really wide audience, it is wiser to keep things simple as much as possible.
There are four important pleasure aspects that we need to consider when we want our design to be aesthetically pleasing. First one is psychical pleasure. Psychical pleasure is derived mostly from touch, smell, and taste. Think of designing handheld products, computer devices, VR set, even a normal pen. We need to make sure the design is ergonomic, it feels comfortable, and doesn't overload the user senses. The second one is social pleasure. We need to make sure the design supports social interaction in the best way possible. It could be as simple as the sound aesthetics of the coffee machine that allows employees to communicate while waiting for the coffee to be ready. The third one is the psychological pleasure. Pleasure derived from the completing a task or feeling in control and safe. This context is very tightly related to the usability of the product, but it can also be related to how the product design looks. Sometimes product design has been dominating aesthetics that are not supported by good usability and ergonomics. The other times, the usability must be on focus no matter what. Equipment designed for emergency situations where people cognition is compromised. In this case, aesthetics are with low priority.
What is ergonomics of an object? Ergonomics is about ensuring a good fit between people and the things they interact with. Ergonomics is divided into three types: physical, psychological, and organizational. Physical ergonomics is about the human body response to the physical and psychological work demands. It includes working posture, musculoskeletal disorder, repetitive movements, and manual handling. Psychological ergonomics studies mental processes and how people interact with the product, system, and environment. That includes stress, motivation, decision-making, and pressure. Organizational ergonomics is about optimizing the organizational structure process to ensure that you keep your end users' needs in focus all the time. That include communication, work partner, and quality management.
It is basically the interactions among people and their other elements. For example, if we talk about phone, then the ergonomics would be the area of contact with the phone screen, which is our fingertip. It also includes understanding the different ways of handling a product. If we hold a phone in different ways, and then marking the areas of interaction while holding it. It is now that we know that how we hold a phone, we can mark the areas, and we can have better designs to make it more comfortable for our user. Once we know the handling of the product and now have improved the design, it will help us get more user-centered products. User-centered product would be like now we have the information, the goals.
Design thinking is human-centered, focusing on the problem of an individual, solving it, scaling it to reach more humans with that problem. That is great and has shown amazing results over the year. However, this framework presents little opportunity to think about the long-term impact of these innovations have on us as social beings. At the end, what is a good design? A good design is when a designer is able to think, feel, and create what people actually need. A good design is the absence of people complaining. It serves a purpose and communicates the idea effectively.